Of course, we have some visitors here. I'm Joe Guy Chabata, and this is my partner.
Yes, hi, good evening everybody. My name is Colin Simons and I'm the principal of Cedar Primary School. We're situated in Bonteheuwel. And my business partner, he's very famous. Our learners just love him because they can see him on TV. So you can tell him all about that.
All right, so I work for ETV and ENCA. I'm one of the weather presenters. Now, when I was approached, or I learned about Partners for Possibility, because I also come from an education background, so I got sold to the idea of trying to help in the improvement of education quality, and so I ended up being partnered with Colin. Now, one of our very first meetings with Colin was when we were introduced. It was more like a speed dating thing, and where we and I was like, okay, so this is the principal, and how are we going to work here? And so we started the journey like everyone else 12 months ago, but we don't think this is the end. It's a celebration of a milestone for us, where we've managed to go the 12 months allocated for the program, but we still feel that there is more to be done at Cedar Primary, and we are hoping that we are going to continue. So when we started, we were hoping to hit the ground running and maybe start to do things and amazing things, but what we started off with was to do some kind of needs gap analysis for the school, and some SWOT analysis, trying to be some smart jacks and all that. But as we were doing that, we realized that there were quite some big challenges that we were going to face, and one of them was also meeting times, but we soon managed to find a way of meeting, and we ended up meeting quite a few times a month, mostly twice or three times, and through those meetings we realized, I for one, realized that Cedar Primary School has quite a lot of challenges, and as I looked at those challenges, I was like, did I make a right choice here of joining Partners for Possibility? Because my question was, will I be able to bring about some change and also provide some solutions? But thank God to one idea that Partners for Possibility tries to advance is that business partners are not experts coming to the school with solutions and know-it-all attitudes, but you are going there as a thinking partner for the principal. So that's what we ended up doing, and we continued like that.
Yeah, as Joel said, we realized that we were too generous with our many goals because there was such a lot of things to do, and we thought we could pack everything into the 1 year. But we soon realized that it can't be done like that. We need to prioritize. So the meetings that we had was very valuable. The SMT meetings, Joel met with the SMT, he met with the SGB. And also the COP meetings that we had, that was also very meaningful, and we could learn so much because there was a wealth of experiences within the COP sessions. So all our meetings were very productive, although we had lots of time constraints, but we managed to work through that. Then we also have a lot of challenges, as you can see there. Some of our most perennial and tangible challenges at the time when we started our journey with the PFP, it was the admin building here at the bottom, which was built down due to vandalism. And that is a huge challenge for us because we are still struggling to get the department on board, and they're making promises, they're giving us due dates. This is the day we're starting with the perimeter fencing, this is the day we're starting with the building. And then it just never materialized. And the safety officers are coming onto the premises to check up on the work. They are giving them fines now. For every day that they don't start, they're getting a fine of 1,500. Then littering is also a huge problem. There's a dump opposite the school, and everybody just comes, and it's actually Telkom ground, but Telkom is just standing out of the waters and couldn't be bothered, and now the squatters are actually starting to build the huts there. So now we have that additional problem also. And then also the mobile toilets that you see there, with the burnt administration building, the toilets were also burned down. There was a stage when we had one toilet for the whole school. So you can imagine the challenge, because you had to walk the children to the neighboring schools. When you got there, the toilets were full. We had to walk them to the creche next door. So we finally managed to get mobile toilets with running water, and that was a major achievement. You wouldn't know what a toilet means until you don't have one. Right, and then also, like many other schools, another big challenge is literacy and numeracy.
So when we looked at all these challenges, we really didn't know where to start. With Colin explaining to me how much time she had spent trying to have the Public Works Department come and attend to the school offices, or even the mobile toilets, we really didn't know where to start. But eventually, as thinking partners, we decided maybe where we might really need to start, because some of the challenges that we had, we depended on other people to help us solve them. So the first thing that we decided to look on was to maybe address the issue of literacy and numeracy. So in one of our goals that we set was to have some kind of program on literacy and numeracy. And thankfully, from the way we started, we introduced our partnership to the SMT as well as the SGB, and they were so welcoming of the idea and very supportive. So when we started rolling out some ideas of what we think the school might do to improve the literacy and numeracy challenges at the school, they were all ready to come on board, and they bought into the idea very quickly. So that's one of the things that we started off right at the beginning of this year, and we are actually glad to report that by mid-year already things had started to improve, and right now Colin is hoping for even better results this third term.
Yes, as many other principals will testify, when we're faced with all these challenges, you don't know where to start. You contact the relevant officials, follow protocol, and sometimes those things just don't work. And luckily we came to the Partners for Possibility with our COP sessions. There we, first of all, we thought you need to operate on an island, but then you found out there's actually other principals with the COP meetings that have similar problems like you, and with all the expertise and the suggestions and experiences that came with the COP sessions, we actually managed to get somewhere. Then we also have some learner-centered programs, because we couldn't challenge the big ones. We kept the big ones separate, and we focused more on the challenges that the learners face, and therefore we had a lot of learner-centered programs. And as the beacon of hope in our community, we thought it would be good to expose our learners to different opportunities and also to different possibilities. And we wanted them to participate in as many activities as possible. That's why we went big on our educational excursions, on our camps, on our athletics. And then we also, because of the gang violence, the sports stopped. And then we had to think out of the box, what else can we put in the place of the sport? So then we brought in youth programs, NGOs like the JAG Foundation, and then also the World Kung Fu champ, MJ Lee, we brought him onto the premises because he hails from Mitchell's Plain. So children can see, you know, it doesn't matter where you come from. If you have a goal, you can achieve it. Then we also expose them to other to other opportunities, like our children are very stressed. You won't believe it. They are small, but they are stressed. You know, they come to school, maybe they were hungry last night. The food that they get, or the food that they get at the feeding scheme at the school, they get breakfast there and they get sort of brunch there. So when they leave the school, then, you know, there's nothing at home. So we thought we need to find something to let them relieve their stress. So we brought in I Meditate Africa. So if they feel stressed, they can, you know, they don't need a lot of space, they don't need money, they don't need anything. They can just go sit in their own little corner, and that is a tool for them to de-stress. Then we also have a lot of reading competitions, and this year for the first time we won the isiXhosa competition. We won the English already, the Afrikaans, and now we won the isiXhosa. And that was actually magic. Then we also expose them to the newspaper when they do something, you know, put it in the newspaper, let them feel good about themselves. We have the anti-bully campaigns every year where JAG Foundation comes in, and now we ventured into a new shift, a new opportunity for them and a possibility. We are busy sowing seeds. We are primary school, but we are thinking of entrepreneurship. We want to start an entrepreneurship club, and then linked to that we have Mandarin. Seeing that Mandarin is the new economic language of the world, seeing that 50%, more than 50% of the world population are speaking Mandarin. Chinese are infiltrating our cities, our children's suburbs, and they have to do with them. So we're sowing the seeds there of possibilities. You know, one day when they're big, they can know there's an option. Matriculants are walking the streets, graduates are walking the streets, so we are sowing the seeds that, you know, they can remember one day, if I don't have work, I have been part of an entrepreneurship club at Cedar Primary. I have been doing Mandarin lessons at Cedar Primary, and hopefully that seed will grow. So when they reach high school, they will continue with entrepreneurship, and when they find themselves jobless one day, they would have something to fall back onto. And those opportunities we created by thinking out of the box, being on the program of Partners for Possibilities.
Yeah, so the reading competitions there were quite in keeping with our thrust towards improving literacy and numeracy. So we decided to have more learners going into that, and we are hoping that next year we will have even more learners. And then this I Meditate Africa, we managed to alert one of our news reporters from ETV, Tanya Neft, and she went there and interviewed the learners. You would have loved to see how brightly lit their faces were, knowing that they were going to be on TV that night. So that was one of the highlights, and I'm sure it awoke something in the learners about the possibilities of many other things that they could do in life. So we had more other learner-centered programs like reading lessons, and Colin will talk more about that, because there is some organization that has offered to provide us with a reading center. Yeah,
we partnered with Ringa Rosie, and so they first gave us the school in the box where they have the literacy material. And now we on the verge of getting a mobile unit there that's going to be our reading center. So we first fixed the jungle gym and put some perimeter fencing on the play area there at the back. So the unit, there's a foundation there, so the unit will be on there. The unit will be there by the end of next month. We had some hiccups to get the fence up there, so they didn't want to come and deliver the unit. So now they trained some of the volunteers or parents of our school that they are empowering. They trained them already, and now they started with the literacy lessons about 2 months ago. So the children are very excited, and the teachers are also very excited because they can see there's a difference in the learners.
So one other thing that makes us so happy about the reading lessons is because we've managed to kill two birds with one stone, because Partners for Possibility, the other idea is to try and involve the community as much as possible, have parental involvement in the education of their kids. So we're now having more and more volunteers coming to help with the reading lessons. So in a way, that is helping to get community involvement with the learners. We also had an opportunity still on the issue of community. Earlier in the year, we had an inauguration of the prefects for this year, and I was honored to be the guest speaker. And I talked to the prefects about leadership qualities and so on. And again, we just having a change of things, because they are used to having their teachers and principals talking to them and so on. And sometimes it becomes the same old, but just bringing in a new perspective, it also helped us a lot. And then we also, sorry about that, I'll go back, but we also started having some of the senior learners visiting the local library, and that is the spring ball that we had at the beginning of September. And then when we started, like I said, I got a good welcome from the teachers, and there have been a number of activities just to keep the teachers' morale up, and that one of them was a wellness day that the principal organized. But here what we have was some kind of team building exercise that we had, and thanks to some suggestion from Nikki, we had what is called a scavenger hunt at the N1 City Mall. So a lot of the teachers were so happy about what we did there, and from then they were so excited, and their morale boosted. And there was a lot of feedback that came to the principal, and we did it in celebrating the World Teachers Day at that time.
Partnership, the next one.
Okay. We'll rush through to the...
some of the achievements, the partnership achievements. We improved the numeracy and literacy results. We got lots more community involvement, especially regarding fundraisers. They organized the Spring Ball. It's the first for us. They never ever organized anything like that. So this year they, after all the inspiration coming from my partner here, they decided they're going to organize it. And they also much more on board with the excursions and also with the parent-teacher meetings. And then also another goal was this, to secure the units for the toilets and also the reading center, which is a very good one.
So just in conclusion, we would love to say when we started, we thought we were just the two of us, but we met other people within the circle, and we formed some networks, and we learned from others, whilst we were also trying to think about the challenges that we are facing. And like we said at the beginning, we don't think this is the end, but we think what started last year is a lifelong journey that we still have to continue through. Thank you.